Okay, so here's a solution to one of the questions on your homework sheet today. In case you want to follow along, just for your reference, this is in the, let me see, it's in the second row in the second column. So if this is one of the questions you picked, you can just follow along with this. But even if it isn't, you can also check your understanding using this example. So step one, we're going to solve for one variable in one equation. So I'm just going to solve for the x here. I'm just going to pick that, and let's solve it down here for step one. So that becomes this. Okay, and that's step one done. I solve for x in one of the variables here. Okay. Now step two, I'm going to sub that in. Now I have to sub it into the other equation. So since I use this equation first, I have to now use this second equation when I sub it in. So I'm going to sub this value of x into that. Okay, so it looks like this. Again, don't forget the brackets. And close the brackets. Okay, kind of see how I just substituted this value in instead of the x, but the rest of the equation is exactly the same. Now let's multiply this. I'm going to do this a little quickly, but let me just slow it down just in case on the side here, just to show you how did I get this 18 over 5. So again, this is following distributive property. So let me do it actually on the side here. So what I'm doing here, using distributive property, I'm multiplying 2 times 9 over 5. Okay. Doing it the long way, what this is the same thing as 2 over 1, which is 2 as a fraction, times 9 over 5. And 2 times 9 is 18, 1 times 5 is 5. And you'll see that's the same number there. Now, the next step, use a different color. Actually, no, let's go back to use a different color, use green. So now let's get to the new information for today. For the new information for today, we want to get rid of this fraction, this over 5. That's kind of what makes our lives a little bit annoying. So I showed you a shortcut. So in order to get rid of the over 5, you're going to put brackets around every single thing and multiply everything by 5. Why the 5? Whatever number is down here, multiply by the same one. So this is 18 over 11. I'll multiply everything by 11. If this was 18 over 3, I'd multiply everything by 3. So you just get the numbers to match. Now what happens is, when you multiply 5 times 18 over 5, really the 5s actually simplify and it just becomes 18. When I multiply 5 times negative 4 over 5, why? Again, the 5s simplify, and I just end up with minus 4y. Now let me explain that to you. Okay, so let's just look at this first relationship. Using distributive property, what I'm doing, let's do it up here, is 5 times 18 over 5. And writing it out the long way, this is 5 over 1 times 18 over 5. So I'll show you the long way and then the short way. The long way is if I actually multiply the tops here. So 18 times 5 gives me 90 over 5. And if I simplify that using maybe my calculator, it ends up with actually 18 as the answer. The simpler way is, see how there's a 5 on top, 5 on the bottom. So 5 can go into 5 once, 5 can go into 5 once as well. So these 5s become 1. So 1 times 18 is 1. 1 times 1 is also 1. So that just becomes 18 over 1, which is more simply 18. Okay. So I'm actually going to have you do it this simpler way, where you just actually look at these 5s, they actually simplify, and it just becomes 18. Okay. So that's how I got from this first step, 5 times 18 over 5, just to 18, because those 5s just simplify. Same thing with this, 5 times negative 4 over 5y. The 5's just canceled out, and I'm just left with this negative 4y, which is what I have here. Okay? And if you don't quite get how I did that, please see me in class tomorrow and I can explain it to you again. Okay? Now, this is still distributed property. So I distribute to the first one, to the second one, but also to everything in the brackets. And I put actually brackets around everything. Okay. So for the next part, it's 5 times positive 2y, which is, let's use yellow. Let's go back to that, yellow. So 5 times positive 2y, which is plus 10y, equals, and 5 times 6 is 30. Okay? So what we've done here with these big brackets is the only new thing from today. Okay? So what I just explained there is the only new thing. From this point, we can continue to gather like terms. So negative 4y plus 10y gives me 6y. I have 30 here already. And this 18, when I move it over, it goes from a positive 18, which is really what it is, becomes minus 18 when I move it to the other side. And that becomes 12, and when I simplify that, y is equal to 2. Now, I've solved for y. Now I'm going to take this value, put it into one of the other equations. It doesn't matter which one. So let me just use the first one. But instead of using y, I'm going to put in 2, because I got that from down here. Okay, which equals 5, so x is equal to 1. So I think I'm a solution for x, but step 4, and I do expect you to do step 4, is to check your work. So the first equation is here. 5x plus 2y equals 9. Let's check if that works. So x is 1, y is 2. So 5 plus 4, 9, and 9. Great, that works. Now let's check the other equation. That's 2x plus 2y equals 6. Now I'm not sure if it's equal yet, so I'm putting the line instead of the equal sign. You'll notice that difference. Now x should be equal to 1, y should be equal to, over here it's 2. So 2 plus 4, oh that's 6, and 6, great, it checks out. So hopefully this helps you to, again, another example that I've reviewed, but really the only new thing from today is this step here, this kind of shortcut for getting rid of those fractions. And as I mentioned in class today, I think the shortcut's easier, but if you actually want to find a common denominator and solve using fractions, you will also get the right answer. Okay? And as always, if you have any questions about this, please see me in class or even after class, and I can help you with that.